You hear the stories, the cold spots, the fleeting shadow, the bump in the night. But what if those aren't just spooky tales? What if they're pieces of a larger puzzle? Pieces connected by human experience, emotion, and memory. I'm Tiffany, a paranormal investigator and psychic medium. Here on Beyond Logic with Tiffany, we're stepping past the fear. We're not just hunting ghosts, we're seeking to humanize the paranormal, connect with the spirits, find compelling evidence, and finally connect the dots that link our world and the next. This is Beyond Logic with Tiffany. Hi, everybody. I'm here with Jill, and I am so excited to talk to her. She owns a couple of the haunted locations that I've been looking forward to getting to sometime in the near future, and I've been really excited to talk to her. So, welcome, Jill, and thank you for being here.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here as well.
So, you started your journey as a paranormal investigator in 2010, I believe you said, correct?
Yeah, so that I always kind of been that weird, creepy kid that liked all the spooky stuff back in the day. And then I actually had my first experience at my grandma's house. Um, there was a room in the back. We called it the North Room, probably because it just faced the north. But to me, it was always like very cold, and not cold like just because it was from the north, but like a spiritual cold. And I always felt like somebody was watching me all the time. I didn't like to play in there. I didn't like being in there. And one particular night, I was upstairs sleeping, woke up in the middle of the night, and I heard footsteps coming out of that room, and it stood in front of the door I was sleeping in. And then I just felt like these intense, like if you almost feel like, like if you're watching a movie and they do like the X-ray eyes burning through you, that's what it felt like. But I was really young, so I was terrified, so I didn't want to turn around and see what was happening. Now, regretfully, now I'd be like, that would have been cool. But so anyway, yeah. So then eventually, then I heard a sigh, and then it turned around and it walked back in the room. And then I just kind of threw the blankets over my head and then just fell back to sleep. Asked it, asked my parents if they had um, been up or anything. They said no, which I kind of knew that anyway because I could hear them in the next room. And my grandma sleeps downstairs, so it definitely wasn't her. But then she nonchalantly is just like, "Oh, honey, that's a ghost, and he won't hurt you." And then I was like, "Whoa!" Like grandma's like she don't care, no big deal. So then I was like, yeah, I kind of want to know a little bit more, which I think that's fueled my passion to study and learn more about the paranormal. And then in 2010, with the advent of TV coming out with all the shows, I was able to realize that wow, this is something you can do. You can actually go and investigate and do things. And then I just met a great group of people. It started with one guy at work that he was into the paranormal. So he's like, yeah, I'm thinking about starting a group. So it was me and him. And at that time, we had like one K2 meter, a voice recorder, and a camera. And, and now we've expanded into so many things. And, but yeah, we started with local businesses and private homes. Then we started to venture out into the what I like to call the pay to play places, which now I'm one of them. But yeah, and we just kind of did that for many, many years. So that was in 2010. And by doing all that is when I kind of decided it would be kind of fun to have my own place for me to go do research and for others to come and do research at. So 2018 is when I was able to financially do that. And I came across the Boyd House in Boyd, Minnesota, and I ended up purchasing that.
So, how did you just stumble upon it, or did somebody like tip you off to it, or?
Well, my realtor wasn't really into the ghost thing, but she knew that's what I wanted to do. So I kind of just did the searching for myself. So I would just kind of do the MLS listings, and it was more of I wouldn't say that I'm psychic in any way, but I can feel things. And I kind of just kind of get a gut instinct. So we looked at several properties, even one that actually had a murder in it. But we ended up, when I saw the Boyd house online, I was like, this is the house. This is the one. I just know. I just know it is. Like I just fell in love with it right away. And then we went there to do like mini investigations, and we had put one of our REM pods in what we changed to what is now the library. in there in about 15 minutes that had gone off. And then we were running a spirit box and we got a woman that said, "Who are you?" And then that was about it, just kind of some feels. So I wasn't sure, like wasn't sure what to do. So we kind of reached out to a medium I really trusted, and she told me that definitely was haunted. A lot of the stuff that she said came true because she said there's two children there, there's men, there's women there. And as we have investigated and learned more of the history, she was completely dead on. But what kind of really baffles me, I didn't think of it at the time, but she said, "Oh, the first night you stay there, you're going to encounter him." And I was like, "Oh, okay." But I hadn't even bought the house yet. I hadn't even put an offer in yet. I was just seeing what her, thought may be on the house. So that was interesting. And then I thought, well, let me just reach out to the owner. Let's see if they had anything. They were pretty reluctant to talk about it. They were an elderly couple. So back in that day, you don't really talk about that. You're crazy if you do. So, but she did say that sometimes they would hear old-timey music. Their children, mostly what they have twin girls. The son never saw anything. But one of the twin girls quite frequently would see a man in the house. And then as we purchased the house, more people came forward and spoke of, hey, when I slept in that house when I was a kid, spent the night there, something like grabbed my feet or pulled my blankets. So there is history of the paranormal going on there. They just didn't really engage in it.
Mhm.
So I think once we started to do what we do, the activity has really increased. And also, I feel too that we probably by doing what we've done, have opened some sort of portal, which other spirits have told us, like, oh yeah, we came through the hallway, or some people say we came through the door. So it's like we get a lot of communication of just passerbyers. Like if I, ask them on the spirit box, they're just like passing through, or I'll actually speak to one of the spirits that actually stay there all the time.
That's really neat. So I know one of the spirits, if I've got my information correct, and I apologize if I don't, doesn't like swearing. That man, is that the same man that you were referencing that would grab feet and stuff?
It could be. It could be. I know his wife doesn't like swearing. I'm pretty sure he probably doesn't because you figure they come back, from the 1900s and they did pass away in 1950. So, maybe a little bit more, but coming back from that date, I mean, they were born in the 1800s.
Mhm.
Swearing was not a thing. And that was a sin pretty much. So they don't really like it, I don't think, when a lot of people swear. Um, but yeah, so that with the history with them, the main family that we know that moved into the house was Fred and Minnie Eckert, and they had two of their children die there. So one died in infancy, and then the other one, when he was 2, he choked to death. Now I don't believe that those children are there, but we do have two adolescent or pre-adolescent kids, I should say, that stay all the time. I don't know their names, don't even know why they're there, but I do know their brother and sister. And one is about I perceive to be 8 and 11 years of age. I haven't, it wasn't me who caught it, but there's a paranormal team in Minnesota called Knops, and they actually captured that both the kids running through the kitchen, two shadows, like 1, 2, real quick through the kitchen and wee hours of the morning, and they were upstairs in the attic at the time when it happened. And I know the way that the house is set up, so there's absolutely no way that it was headlights, especially even the direction it was coming through. So that was a really cool piece of evidence that was captured at the house at one point. But yeah, both Fred and Minnie passed away in the home, and then Minnie's funeral was held in that home in the parlor. Well, they called it the parlor. I have it as the living room now, but they, because it has the windows, the 3 windows where they usually would put people back in the day. So they had her funeral in that house for 3 days.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, and then we had a lady in the 70s die of a heart attack, older lady. So those are the confirmed deaths that we know about, but we have a lot of people say that there's stuff on the record that you're never going to find it. So
Right.
yeah. And the town dates back to 1889. So it's a very, very old town. So the house itself is right on the corner where town was. It's pretty much a ghost town now. There's only 150 people that live there. And there's really nothing in town, the usual, the bar, a small cafe, post office. That's about it. There's really not much going on there. But the house sits right on the corner, so you can see the town from the corner of the house. It was also the first house that had plumbing, and it was actually the livestock livery stable was right across the street back in the day from there. And so I have pictures that you can see where it was like a old Wild Wild West town, with the horses, the cowboys, everything. They were a big booming town too. They had like a hotel, they had restaurants, they had creameries, all kinds of stuff. So like I said, now it's literally a ghost town. But it was also butted up against the Sioux Dakota reservation line as well. So I think there's probably a lot of stuff with that. And the railroad tracks also run right directly behind the house. And I know that usually delivers a lot of energy too, spiritually wise. So yeah, there's just a lot of things happening at the house.
I guess that's awesome though. That's really neat. I had no idea that it was such a small area now that, you know, it's modernized, I guess we'll say, but that's really neat.
Yeah, it's fun. When we first got it, um, we weren't really getting a lot of activity, and I thought, oh gosh, did I make a mistake here? Like I didn't know maybe this isn't really haunted. And even though we did have a few things, like it was like the first night that we did stay there, my husband, who's not sensitive, he's not really even into the ghost thing. He's just my maintenance guy, he says. So, but he kept getting that cobwebby feeling, or like bugs were crawling on his legs the very first night that we stayed there. And I was walking, there's like a little hallway, like from the kitchen, and it goes past the basement door, and then it'll lead you out to the little area to go upstairs. Well, as I was walking by there, all of a sudden on that door, I heard bam, 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 like somebody was knocked 3 times really loud behind the basement door. Of course, I jumped like 10 feet because I was not expecting that. But yeah, of course, I open the door, there's nobody there. And it does go down to the basement. And yes, there is a door to the outside, but it has a regular, pretty heavy duty storm door on it and a screen door that was on it. And even if you put your hands up there, there's barely any air coming through. So not enough to make the bam, bam, bam sound. So that was my very first experience staying in the house. And then when I brought my teammate, Donna, with me, the next time we stayed at the house, she heard footsteps coming down. We didn't have furniture at the time, so we were sleeping on air mats downstairs. And she heard footsteps coming downstairs, and then something crawled into bed and like snuggled up with her. And she said it felt like a small child. She wasn't afraid, but she was like, "Hi, how are you?" Because she's braver than I would have been. But so yeah, and then yeah, but for the most part, that it was a minimal stuff. But I was worried, and I was just sitting in the kids' room one day, and I had like an EMF bear. So he'll go off if he gets that. And I was just talking to him, and I'm like, "Look, I don't even know if you're here, but if you're here, people are going to give you a lot of gifts. You're going to get a lot of toys. We're just here to interact with you, but you just got to somehow let me know that you're here." And then probably I left the room and everything. And about 20 minutes later, my EMF bear went on and off for about 2 hours straight.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, yeah, I guess they are here. So, and then ever since then, it's been crazy. They've been learning how to use all the equipment. So if you kind of figure if you think of it in an aspect, so when you go to places like we say the pay to plays, they're used to these ghost hunters. They're used to the equipment. It's just, they can see what we're doing. They understand, they can hear. So eventually they learn what a REM pod is. They know how it works. They can manipulate it. They can talk to you in those ways. In my particular instance, nobody's ever talked to them, and they didn't understand how to do anything. And I suppose if you think about it from the, 1800s, if I'm like, hey, touch that light thing with all the antennas on it, it's okay. Go ahead, just right, yeah. They're probably like, man, I don't know about that. So, eventually that they learned, and I found that sometimes they get like bored with something, and a lot of times I like to go watch what other people catch, and gives me ideas as well too. But I notice if they're using a new piece of equipment that maybe they've never been exposed to, they really go after it. Like the music box for the very first time that I saw somebody use it there, it went crazy, no matter where they put it. So then, of course, I had to get one. And but yeah, so it's like it's something new. I think it gets them more intrigued, like, ooh, it's not the same old, oh, here's the REM pod, hit the K2 meter. So it's like, I mean, don't get me wrong, they still do. But I think that they
Yeah.
get a lot more interaction when you're bringing out something new.
Do you think that new people make them excited too, just as much as like new equipment?
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, it's somebody new every day. And they really enjoy talking to people. We actually had a medium tell us that there's a lot of ghosts in the whole town, which I totally believe that, because we've heard
Mhm.
stories of other buildings and things. I mean, it is an old town. Um, but he said that a lot of the spirits, because they can come through to the Boyd house and things like that, that they do enjoy talking. So they get very excited when the ghost hunters are there. So they like to come and visit.
That's awesome. That's really cool. Is there a place that's like more active than others there? Like, is the basement more active than upstairs or anything like, or is it just everywhere?
It's everywhere. It depends on the day. For me, I don't really get a lot in the basement. There is a room in the back, and we have a guy back there named George. He's a little cranky. But he's just an old man, he'll swear at you.
Oh,
And he'll make you feel really unwelcome, but he's never done anything to hurt anybody. I think he just doesn't like anybody in his space. Because I never even liked that from day one. That was just one room I didn't really particularly care for. Um, so yeah, for me, mostly I get a lot of my stuff upstairs and in the main lower level as well, is usually what I get. I was just there a couple weeks ago by myself, and usually when I'm by myself, I don't really want to engage a whole lot. And I tell them that, but for this particular time, they didn't listen to that. So, I could feel them around me, so I get the intense goosebumps, like I just knew they were there, and I would talk. But a couple times I heard an audible voice, and footsteps several times, and every time I'd be like, hey, now we talked about this. So I'm just here to clean today. So, but
that's cool.
yeah.
You've got a rapport with them. That's awesome.
Yeah, and I did a lot when well, I still talk to them. I'm very, they're like my family, really, to me, like an extended family. I actually buy them a lot of gifts. I feel like I'm the only one who shops for the dead. But yeah, every time we go to antique stores, I'm looking for something that, would fit them or I think that they would like. Usually they do, because when we bring it, we'll bring a piece of equipment, put it by it and say, hey, if you like it, hit, light it up, let us know. So for the most part, yeah, they seem to like all the gifts we bring them, and all the kids give us lists of all the things that they want. So they get it here and there. I don't spoil and give it all at once, but yeah, when we've asked, usually spirit box, sometimes we get EVPs. My friend Teresa is really, really good at doing an Estes session. So she got, I think they told me like 30 things that they wanted, anywhere ranging from a stuffed elephant to a toy horse to a ball, a teddy bear. And like all the kids were just naming off stuff. So we've slowly been purchasing the stuff, and some we already had, and I don't think they accepted that because I said, you guys already have teddy bears. You already had, that. I think they said they want more.
The beauty of the new shiny teddy bear.
Yeah, I know. And that's what I think too. It's nice to have my own location because you can develop that relationship with the spirits versus when you go somewhere, you have so many hours just to make that connection, and
Mhm.
that's it, and that's great, and they will interact with you that way. But I think you can get kind of a little bit deeper, connection when you're there all the time. I also feel like we have several people that love the house so much that they come a lot. And I think they get more and more activity the more and more they come because I think the spirits get more familiar with them, you know. A lot of times too, uh, if I see a video or something, I'll ask him, I'm like, hey, did you like it with, Jay came and he did this. I saw you did this. What'd you think? And sometimes they'll interact, I think with that. So I think they just kind of keep, a really good rapport with each other.
That's awesome. And I love that you actually interact with the other people that have been there and bring them up again. That's really awesome. That is really cool. That's something that you do. Do
Oh
you,
yeah.
I forgot what I was going to ask now. I guess it's not important. But, so what made you purchase your second location?
Well, I did do a lot of renovations at the Boyd House, so we brought it back to the 1900s. We did all the new wallpaper or the old Victorian wallpaper. We had to put a roof on it, so there's still more things that we need to get done with the house, but that's when people are paying for helps with the restoration of the house. But I kind of got it to where I'm pretty happy with. There's some minor things and some other things I'd still like to do yet. But I thought I'd like to try my hand at something just a little bit bigger, like a building. So, when I was looking, I wasn't really planning on finding a place in Illinois, being as I live in Minnesota. But again, when I saw it online, I was like, I'm pretty sure I have to have this building. So it was it was built in 1861, and it originally was the Arlington Hotel, which was also used as a brothel. And then in the 1900s, it became the Masonic Lodge. And so it was a Masonic Lodge up until I believe they said like 2010-ish or something. And then a guy bought it. He was going to do an event, make it an event center, and then he did nothing with it. And then I took over. So it has pretty much been abandoned for many, many years before I happened to purchase it. But
Oh, wow.
when we went to look at it, I wasn't really getting a lot on the spirit box at the time, though. I thought I was asking the questions, and I didn't know at the time that it was okay for women to be in this particular lodge because they shared that with the Eastern Star, which is the female version of the Masons. So it actually was okay. It was in there, but I thought it was because I was a woman. But we did get a couple EVPs. One was I see you. And then I got like a little kid that said, find the body. And I was like, wow, why is a little kid talking? But then at that time, I didn't know it was the hotel with the brothel because I
Oh,
thought it was just the Masonic Lodge from day one. So I just decided to go ahead and move forward with the purchase and just take a chance. And we just thought we'd sell it if it wasn't haunted, but it's definitely haunted. So, um, I had a lot of the locals come up and tell me about this lady in white. A lot of them talked about her. When I was there cleaning it out, uh, Master Mason came up, introduced himself, and after that, his first words are, "Have you seen her?" And I said, "Who?" And he goes, "The lady. She wanders the halls at night." Because I've seen her many, many times when I've been here by myself. So she's definitely there. And I don't know if it's the same woman or not, but somebody told me they had come in, and it was even during the daytime. They had come into the lodge and they saw a woman on her hands and knees scrubbing the floor. And they said hello. They like verbally like said hello to each other. She walks into the kitchen and talks to the other ladies and goes, "Who's scrubbing the floor?" And they said, "There's nobody here." So then they walked out there, and of course there's nobody there scrubbing the floors, obviously. So there is definitely a lot of history with this building. I've gotten quite a bit of activity, different variations from Masons to children to people, prostitutes to pimps that were there. So a lot of different, nothing malevolent, of course. But I think one of our most profound things was when I had my entire team there and we had been cleaning all day. But again, I just bought it, so we don't really have any furniture a lot of stuff around. So we were in the dining area, just kind of hanging out, and my friend went out to the kitchen to make herself a sandwich. And all of a sudden I heard this loud bam. And I thought, oh my God, she dropped the cooler on the floor. How could she drop the cooler on the floor? That's how loud, and that's what I thought happened. She comes busting through the door and she's like, oh my God, something just slammed something behind me. So we went in the kitchen, we looked around, there's nothing that fell on the floor, nothing laying around. And again, we don't really, the building's pretty much empty. So we just decided that it must be that. So we went back into the room and one person opened the cupboard and slammed it, and that's exactly what the sound was. So later, doing an Estes session, they said it was a different spirit that did it because he thought it was funny. So
Oh, that is awesome.
yeah, whether that's true or not, I don't know. But yeah, I get a lot of little boy EVPs. I think he particularly if I think it's who we talked to through a really good Estes session. Like I said, my friend Teresa, I have never seen anyone do an Estes session like her. Like it's literally like talking like you and I are. And we can sit here
Oh,
and have
wow.
a half an hour conversation. And she can also tell me exactly what I'm doing. And she's blindfolded. And she has no clue. Like if I get up, sometimes she says, where are you going? Or,
Oh,
and then there'll be, just the crazy things that they say. It's just amazing. But a little boy came through. His name was Cody, specifically spelled with two E's. He was very intent on letting us know that. But he said he didn't say how he died, but I'm guessing maybe similar circumstances. That he said his friend Mark was there and he was 8 years old. And Mark, he said he was hot, hot like fire. So to me, that tells me he had a fever. And then he said, and he had a lot of sores on it. So I'm sure he had, I don't know, like chicken pox, smallpox, or some sort of one of those diseases back in the day. So I'm guessing, there's a potential, if you think about it, they may have brought these sick children if they were having, a pandemic or epidemic to a secluded location to be like, here, just nurse all these kids here. We're going to isolate them because that's what they did back in the day. They didn't know a lot, but they would just put them
right.
all in one, like sometimes it'd be a schoolhouse or, so they might have just said, let's put them in the hotel. So that could be why those children are lingering as well. But yeah, we definitely have a whole gamut of everything. So I do know a lot of people who go to the lodge definitely get a lot of interaction, whether it's shadow figures, audible voices. I've heard the doorknobs, going back and forth like someone's trying to open it. People hear
Oh, wow.
footsteps, get touched. So yeah, I haven't seen an apparition there yet. I'm hoping someday. I still honestly have never seen an apparition. I've seen one shadow figure, but I've never seen a full-blown apparition. And um, my husband has, of course, at the Boyd House, and I was very jealous and still am to this day. But I also tell the spirits I kind of have like limitations on when you can show yourself. So maybe that's why they probably know. I don't know. I really don't know how I'd react with that. I want to say I'd be calm, but I might freak out. But I hear it happens so fast that you don't really have time to react. So, um,
Yeah.
yeah. So we'll see. I'm sure it'll happen someday, but yeah.
Well, that's really neat. So you own these places. So I guess how do I word this? Do you feel that places can call to you? Like I know there's been a couple of times that other pages and investigators have asked this question, but does a location actually call to you?
Yeah,
Not even just a purchase, but just in general?
yeah, I think so because when I look at it, even though for the purchasing, I get that immediate attachment to it. Like I just know I have to be there. And then a lot of times I just get the feeling like I just want to be over there. I just want to go there. And I can't go there all the time. Boyd's pretty popular. We started in 2018 and it just took a lot of time with a lot of evidence coming out that people really started coming there quite often. So it's pretty booked up quite a lot. So I don't get to go there as much as I used to go. And then being as the lodges as far as it is, I don't get up there as much either. But I still love the building. I still want to be, when I first actually got it, I was like, maybe we should move over here. So it's like, and then my husband's like, we have pensions, we can't leave. So
That would put a damper on it.
yeah.
Um, have you ever had to like physically, I guess you kind of already answered this in a way, but have you ever had to like physically remove yourself from either of the places because you just got so overwhelmed by spirit or anything like that? Or,
No, no, not at the either locations. I had at another location. Um, but yeah, nothing at my house. I haven't experienced anything like that. Because we don't have anything negative really. I mean, crotchety old guy, but that's about it.
right. Well, let's go into the one that you did have to, if you wouldn't mind telling the story about it.
Yeah, I was actually it was at Farrar School in Iowa. And a couple of times and that's probably what happened is when I went off by myself. And it wasn't I wasn't investigating, but I was like, oh, I forgot something. I'll be right back. And so I would have to go down to several floors by myself, dig around and come back up. But there was a like one time I remember even and that was actually the last one. What I remember is I kind of felt like something coming rushing up the stairs at me as I was headed back to my friends. And I just said, don't. And then I really don't remember a whole lot because the rest of it was all captured on film to where I was yelling, screaming, I was being very rude to everybody. Um, and that just wasn't me. That was not my demeanor. And I remember none of it. So after a while they did because this is not my how I would behave. They did take me outside for a while and then I was fine. But I didn't even know that even happened. And when I reviewed the film footage when we got home, I just called people. I go, "What the hell, you guys? Like, I don't understand. That was not me. Like, I don't even know." So that was just probably like one of the weirdest things that would be bizarre. I guess I don't know if you would call it possession or something, but it was definitely. They do have a really crabby mean principal, so maybe that was him. I don't know.
That's interesting that you don't even have any recollection of it. That just
Uh-uh.
blows my mind. And
Yeah,
that's never happened since then, or has it?
no, never. Uh-uh.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. That you're only the second person that I've ever actually had that happen to, so that just intrigues me even more. Just that's so I don't want to say it's cool because it's not for you, I'm sure, but like from an outsider, it's neat that they can overcome a person to the point where you have no recollection of it.
Right, right. Yeah, it still kind of freaks me out to this day. I have been back there I think we went like 3 times total, and that was on the first time we ever went. So, but and the last 2 times we went, I didn't get anything except for um everybody else gets stuff, but I really wouldn't get anything. And I was just like, I don't think they like me. And I think we were running the spirit box, and they're like, we don't like you. So I think that's why I just don't go back there anymore. But so
I don't blame you. Holy cow. Sheesh.
yeah. So that was probably like that. And then I think the only other really it wasn't like a possession, but just still it's a creepy story. So we were actually in Indiana. We were investigating a place called Whispers Estates. Don't know if you're familiar with that, but it's a very heavy, heavy negative house. So it was a doctor's house that did unethical things with his patients. Pe people's body parts were buried in the backyard. His daughter caught on fire right around Christmas, and then he mercy killed her like 4 days later. A little boy fell down the stairs tragically and died. And then there was another guy that his name was Virgil, and he was a very crabby caretaker. But on the day of his retirement, he was upstairs putting his tools in the closet, and he dropped dead of a heart attack. So this particular closet is known for, they told us, people get locked in there. And it's one of those locks where it goes up, slides over, drops down. That's the only way you're going to get locked in. So they have no
Oh,
clue how people are getting locked in that way. People get scratched, people get pushed. Um, the owners wouldn't even come upstairs. They're like, if that closet door is cracked open just a little bit, we will not even come up here. We refuse to. So
Wow.
we had to go sit in the closet. And it's a big, it's like a big walk-in. They even have like a small table. They had a chair in there. So we were just kind of in the closet, me and my friend Teresa, and we were running the spirit box, and something in my head, but it was in my head, it wasn't the spirit box. It was a man that says, "Get out of this closet." And it was very, very stern about it. And I could just feel like, you better get out of here. But I have a fear of getting shut in places, so I just thought, it's just me thinking, so I'm just gonna step out of the closet. But so I never said anything to my friend because I just assumed it was me just being crazy. And then the spirit box said, "Shut this door," which of course we didn't do that either. And then next thing you know, her and the chair come flying out of the closet. Sheila said that she was probably about 4 feet, and then she landed on her hands and knees right by the stairwell. But she said she literally felt the chair get picked up and just pushed with all this force. And that really freaked her out. So yeah, that was kind of a creepy um, and that night too, I mean, everybody just kept having like super heavy cobwebs. Like we were all doing this all night, all of us. And one of the guys stepped outside for the rest of the night. He couldn't take it anymore. Just from that constant cobwebs in your face feeling. We saw wet footprints coming up from the basement leading outside. Nobody been down in the basement. So it's just like there was so much going on, and we tried to sleep in the house because we had a long drive home. So one of the girls on the rental car, she was too young, so she couldn't be on the rental. So she thought she'd just stay up all night and just, the rest of the night just watch over us. And she's like, yeah, I just kept seeing like a man and a shadow running this way and then running back. And I just kept looking at my phone because I didn't want to see. It's like, so that was a really creepy house. We all voted we'd never go back again, but we did.
Oh,
But it took many years to get back there, and Teresa, who was thrown, I really, really wanted her to come, but she just would not do it. So we didn't get quite the same activity level as we did the first time, and I don't know, everything varies from day to day anyway. I don't know if it would have been amped up if had we brought her or not brought her. I don't know. Um, I mean, we did get interactions and things like that, but it was not to the level. We didn't even have the cobwebbies that particular day. So either we got lucky on a very amped up night, I don't know, but it was a great place to go. I highly recommend it if you're looking for some really good interaction.
yeah. I'm definitely intrigued. I probably shouldn't be so gung ho to go get thrown out of a closet, but I think I kind of am.
Yeah, it's a fun house, definitely a fun house.
You've been at this a lot longer than I have. Do you have like your top three favorite locations?
Yeah, Edinburgh Manor in Iowa is my number one. I love that place. We have probably been like 4 times, and we're actually doing a 2-night stay this August. So we've never really done a 2-night stay anywhere other than like the Boyd House, but I don't count that because it's mine. But we're really excited to just do a 2-night stay. And Edinburgh Manor was like an old poor farm, also like an asylum almost. So it's not a super big one. It's kind of more of a shape of a H. So it's perfect to cover, but not overwhelming like going to Waverly. But it's just so much fun. I've gotten so much activity. We've had like doors shut on us, so much interaction with equipment, great EVPs. I've gotten EVPs of men that are really crabby. They'll talk to you like about medicine. My favorite EVP that I hands down, and I've never had contact with her ever since, and I don't know if she's moved on or what, but they did do, I don't know, maybe I haven't, like I said, I haven't had contact with her anymore, but a little girl that was there, and we were playing games with her in the rec room. So they have like a room all set up. They got a pool table and all kinds of stuff. So we were playing all kinds of fun games with her because she was interacting with equipment and things like that. And then I said, okay, well, we got to go. It's, good night. It's time for bed. And as we walked out the door, she said, on it, we got it, the Class A EVP, didn't have to tweak it, nothing. She says, I'm gonna miss you. And I was like, oh yeah, I gotta come back. So I was like, but yeah, we've even like well, we're crazy and we actually sleep inside there, and with air mattresses, and you can feel people sometimes jumping around on your mattresses. Um, there was a woman who was raped and murdered there, and I just was sitting in her room talking, and I just said, "Oh, this is terrible violence against women. I'm so sorry what happened to you." And then all of a sudden, you would just be, I just felt like somebody just like rubbing my arm, because I was sitting next to her bed and like she was comforting me as well. So that was kind of cool. So that is like, yeah, one of my hands down favorite places that I've ever been. And then Reverend Acres was another one. It is now torn down, unfortunately. We got a lot of great EVPs from that one. And well, I don't know how great it was. Alex is our only guy on our team. And the spirits supposedly possess men there, so he was pretty nervous about being there. But we were getting a lot of interaction, like one of the REM pods had gone off by the piano. And I was like, I sat right next to by the piano. I said, you guys, I so miss this. This made me so sad. If you could just like touch it one more time, that would be great. And then they did. So like they were doing stuff on command, basically. And then there was when we tried to go to sleep, Alex had said, I can't stay in here. I just heard footsteps coming down the stairs and I feel real uneasy right now. So he went out to sleep in the van. And at that time, we didn't know, but I caught an EVP that was a guy that said kill one. So I don't know if maybe they were like after Alex and that's why he just got the get out of here. Like I can't be in here. So he decided to sleep out. So but yeah, that they tore that down unfortunately, but that was a real fun place to go. If you think of it as fun. But Waverly Hills is fun too, but I think that's like on every ghost hunter's list of places to go. We didn't get a ton of interaction. We did, it's so big, like it's hard to set stuff up, but we did set some stuff up. We left, some REM pods go off in the hallways and things like that. Um, but it just the whole I just like being at these places just to just step back in time and I know it's a lot run down, but if you just I work in the medical profession, so I'm in a hospital all the time and hospitals, asylums are like my favorite places to go investigate. I don't know if it's because I just feel so connected with those buildings, but I just stop and I can just picture how this place used to be and what it was like. And it's just a little piece of history that I'm stepping into. And I just love that.
I can definitely relate to that stepping into history part of it is specifically, but I love asylums as well. I've been to Rolling Hills Asylum that's up near me, and I don't, have you ever been there?
No, no, the farthest we've gone is Ohio. And I was like, oh, that was a long haul. So I try to keep it a little more local these days. I'm getting a little older, so travel's a little more rougher these days.
I can understand completely. Well, if you ever do feel like you're up for it to come to New York, I would definitely recommend checking that place out. It's very active. I got pushed in a wheelchair there, and that's one of my favorite memories from my paranormal investigating is just being shoved in a wheelchair. So
Oh, that's cool. How far did you get to roll?
it
Just
was only
yeah.
probably like 6, 7 inches, but it was enough that I knew that I moved, and everybody looked at my feet, and I'm really short. My feet didn't even touch the ground while I was sitting in the wheelchair, and they're like, "Your feet aren't on the ground." I'm like, "Well, I didn't shove myself." So that's how we all knew
Yeah.
that it was definitely a spirit. So that was probably one of the coolest experiences I've had.
Yeah. Could you like maybe feel like their hands pushing it, or did you not feel that you just moved?
I just felt that I moved. It was almost like it was a nurse wheeling me back to my room. That's kind of like the equivalent that I felt, maybe, because it wasn't like a shove on my back. It was
Yeah.
more like just a push.
Okay.
Like that was all they could muster up. But it's a really neat place, a very cold place. There's not much electricity in that building. Obviously, with the bigger places, you're not going to get that, but it's a cool place. And I'm finally getting myself out to the Midwest, so maybe
There you go. Well, you can come to the lodge. We don't have any power heat or anything at the lodge. It's, pretty bare bones at this point. Just Sorry. Since I just got it, we're slowly working on things. We tried to put a real bathroom in there and that came into a big expensive snafu, so that's on hold for right now. But we do have a porta potty available. But what I think about interesting with the lodge is with the not having any electricity, we do get a lot of EMF activity on those type of equipments. So one of my interesting things with the lodge is I had the EMF tripwire laid out. It was very early in the morning. I was the only one in the building, and I just grabbed. We have several books and things that were donated to us. So there's like a Masonic prayer book. So I thought, what the heck? I'll just take it out and I'll read it. So I started reading a prayer. It was weird, but I started reading it anyway. And then I kind of looked up and all of a sudden I could because I felt this energy, this crazy electric energy. And I looked up and the tripwire one by one was going off and as it was, I could feel the energy coming more at me. And I was just like, "Oh, are you here? I can feel you." And then as it got to me, I felt like this zap on the bottom of my foot, almost as if I had touched an electric fence because I had to pull my foot really fast up off the floor. So I did get an electric shock from
Oh,
that. So
wow.
I don't know what caused that. But again, not having any EMF, how is this happening? We've gone around with the K2 meter just to make sure there's no residual and nothing ever happens. And then you can leave like a tripwire in that same spot again and it'll never ever go off. So we just know that whatever is setting this off has to be to me paranormal. Um, the other thing we had, I was upstairs in the temple area, yeah, by myself again. I don't know why I do this, but I had like REM pod on this side, a REM pod on that side, and then two in the other change. They have two rooms when you come upstairs that you would change before the ceremonies. One was men, one was women, before you come into the temple. So then I had like REM pods in each of those rooms. So I was getting like little blips, like I keep hearing blip, 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 and I was, not all at the same time, but just I'd keep, and I'm like, are you guys like doing that or is something going on with my REM pods? Like, I just don't know, like if this is you, like if it is you, could you let me know? But then I got that heavy energy feeling surrounding me. And at that particular moment, every single REM pod went off at the same time and it held it for several seconds, all of them. And I was like, all right, well, that's you. Okay, great. So, and that was, I thought was really, really cool. So, yeah, just a lot of, and that's why I toy with, should I put a electric in there? Because then you don't have to question things. So, but yeah, I just think when those kind of things go off, when there is no electricity, or we don't have our cell phones by us and that kind of thing. A lot of people say, "Oh, well, airplanes," or like they really, if you really think about it, if you have a K2 meter, you have to be pretty close for it to go off. At
Oh, yeah.
least within a certain proximity. An airplane flying over is not going to set off a K2 meter. So there's just if you really know how your equipment works, um, when we're in places where we have electric, I'm a lot more skeptical and I try to stay away from EMF because I don't know the building. I don't know the layout of the lines. I don't know a lot of stuff. So I try to stay away from EMF at that point because I like to be pretty scientific based. So if I can't 100% rule something out, I won't count it. So I think it drives my teammates crazy sometimes because and I'm like, well, it could have been so.
It's good to have a healthy amount of skepticism with stuff like that, though. I think that's always a good thing, especially in this field, to, not always equate everything to paranormal activity.
Right, right. But I definitely believe there is another side. Just with the amount of experiences that I've had, the EVPs. If you want to say anything, hands down, you can't fake an EVP. So it's like, I mean, people do it, but I'm just saying is if you're gonna take proof from another side, you
Mhm.
know, especially this not one of the EVPs at the Boyd House and stuff, but one, I think when it relates to um the building itself. So I know when we were at the Randolph Infirmary in Indiana, which is a lovely asylum. I'd love to go back because we captured a shadow figure and my friend saw a shadow figure. But we got some really awesome EVPs. So now the building had burned down two times, I believe, and been rebuilt. And it was only me and Teresa in this. I don't even know how many thousands of square feet this building was, but it was huge. But we got an EVP in the basement of a man that said, "The building's on fire, don't you know?" So
Oh,
for
wow.
that and that A, long, great of a EVP, class A, didn't have to do it. It's two women only in the building. Where's this man's voice coming from? What he's talking about the fire. Then there was another time we were up on a different floor. We were just walking and talking like we weren't even really interacting. And another woman came through and said, "Hello, girls, pleased to meet you. Come on in." I mean, this is a huge, long sentence. And I really wish I would have known she said that because I would have loved to stop on in. So, but yeah, so I feel like you can't deny these things, And for me, I love a good spirit box or Estes session. I love the science behind the spirit box, behind, it works. I don't usually use ones when they're like yes, no, or very like one word sometimes. Try to look for a little bit more validity to it. But I think one of my favorite things is early when we were using the spirit box, we were doing a private home investigation. The man who owned the house, old Victorian house, he very skeptic, did not believe in ghosts, but he was a very smart man. When he gave us our business card, I think he had like 75 different abbreviations behind his name, like PhD, MD, all. I mean, I'm talking this guy was smart, but his family members had stuff. So his house belonged to the riverboat captain, Captain Jenks, and he was the riverboat captain in downtown Stillwater. So we were running the spirit box. He understood the science of the spirit box. And I said, "Whose house is this?" And plain as day, it said Captain Jenks. And I convinced him from that day forward that there was a ghost in his house because he understood that it's not going to rate AM. And I run my stuff on AM. At 8:30 on a Sunday night, the word Captain Jinx is not going to come out on an AM radio station anywhere near. So he was very convinced about ghosts after that. So that was kind of fun.
That's really neat. It's always like that awe factor that you get when something that you don't think is going to come through comes through, and you're just like, oh well, there's no denying that anymore. So
I
it's entertaining to me too. So is the spirit box like your all-time favorite piece of equipment that you use?
yeah, and I have a variation of the several different kinds, the portals and this and the that, because I just love talking on them. Like I ran that at the Boyd house, and I was in the bedroom, and I have a picture of Fred and Minnie Eckert up on the wall, and I was just pointing at the picture, and I said, "Hey, who's this people in the picture? Is anybody here with that picture?" And they go, "Do you mean the Eckarts?" Like that came over on a spirit box. And I'm like, "Yeah, I do." So yeah, so it's just so much fun when you get that, or even if you get a swear word because they're gonna say the F bomb, which we've gotten several times. They're not gonna say that on the radio. You can't deny that stuff. So it's just I just love the proof of that. And taking it a step further with the Estes, I'm not good at it. When I do it, I hear a word here there. But like I said, when Teresa's with me, I could just if she gets tired, so we can't do it all the time. I honestly think that they sort of take over her. So we try not to do too long, but sometimes boy, those conversations we've talked for like an hour, so even,
Wow,
yeah, so I that's probably one of my favorite things to do is Estes method with Teresa.
it is fun to do for sure. Do you think that they need to be more of, well, obviously they'd have to be intelligent hauntings. Do you think that it's more common for intelligent or residual hauntings to be a thing?
I would say most of them are intelligent in my experiences. The residual is just the energy left behind, but then there's not too many places I go where they say the same time, the same thing that like that's what residual is going to be. It's going to be exactly 8:02. It's going to be a woman in white and it's just going to have her for 3 seconds.
Mhm.
Um, I haven't been to really any places that say stuff like that. Most of my stuff is all like, oh, this happens, this happens, this happens, which tells me it's more of an intelligent haunting, and I think that they're just a little bit more prevalent. I don't think the stamp in time is it's out there, but I just don't think we encounter it as much as we do with the intelligent spirits.
I agree. Do you think that technology is making it less likely for us to find things? Because I know there's like certain things that obviously, like the Ovilus is really cool. There's um a slew of other things that are coming out now with like newer versions. Do you think that makes it less likely to catch something because you're bringing more energy that it creates for them to use, I guess? Or do you think it has the opposite effect where you're going to catch more with the newer technology?
Well, Trace and I were talking about it, and so we go to a lot of different places, and like I said, as we expanded, we've gotten all the gadgets and all the fun stuff. Um, we feel like we haven't captured as much as we used to, paranormal wise, using all the gadgets. And we kind of feel like I wonder if it's just because we're so focused on what is the obvious going to say? What is the spirit box going to say? Is that K2 meter going to go off? Hey, touch that REM pod. So now you're really kind of blocking off what is really going on around you. So we're trying to, well, get back to, we're trying to do most of our investigations with minimal. Shove it in your backpack and that's what you get. So,
Mhm.
so we're trying to be a little bit more minimal, doing more, we will throw some stationary stuff out, but not like we used to. I mean, honestly, oh, it was a nightmare. Really, we think, how did we do this? But we honestly could go into a real big location and probably send up about 17 cameras. And each one of those cameras has a voice recorder, and we're the type that leave it on from the time we put it on, and we don't turn it off until we turn it off. Um, so then we each have like 19 hours of, times 17 times to listen to and all this film footage to listen to. And it probably took us like 3 to 4 hours to set up. So we just decided that we're just gonna scale around down and just kind of get back down to the basics and not rely so much on technology. Sure, you got to have some so that you know that they're around and stuff, but we're gonna try to focus a little bit more on just seeing what else we can come up with.
Right. Yes. I think that's very accurate that everybody's so focused on the gadgets and not so much the paranormal part of it anymore. Do you
Right.
use any like dowsing rods or anything? Have you ever used those?
Yeah, I not really out on investigation. I did buy some for the Boyd House because not a lot we let anybody stay at the Boyd House. You don't have to be a paranormal investigator. So there's people who don't have their own equipment. So we've donated, some of my stuff I don't use anymore. It kind of works, So it's like that kind of thing. Like the back's missing off of it. So but it still works. But so we've donated that kind of stuff. So I did get a pair of dowsing rods for that. We have tried it on one investigation at a school, and it did actually spell out the name of somebody. Um, I couldn't find any history if it was a true name or not. But that was kind of interesting to use it for that. So, but I'm always skeptical. I'm like, well, you can't really hold yourself still. It's like, but it's like, I don't know. Sometimes we get them all, they cross really well. So, those are stuff that I use just for fun. I'm not going to say it does or doesn't work. But again, just fill out a name perfectly. So,
I'm always curious of how people think about dowsing rods. They're one of my favorite pieces of equipment to use just because I don't know, they're easy to use, I guess. But
right,
there's
right.
there's definitely people that you can see their wrists moving and stuff, and they're like, "Oh, look at that!" And it's like, "Yeah, look, you can move your wrists, so can I." But um, I like the simpler tools more than the advanced ones, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I just like the little spirit box thing and yeah, that makes me happy.
Yeah, that's sometimes that's all that you need is one thing that you're really focused in on and works, and that's that. Well, I so much appreciate you coming and talking to me.
Oh
It's been
yeah,
a blast.
thanks for having me. Oh gosh, I got so many stories. I could like talk half the night.
Well, if you're ever interested, I'd love to have you back on again.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, because we got plenty of stories and different events coming up at both the locations and things like that. So
Well, I mean, if you want to shout any of them out now that are in the near future, by all means, go ahead.
yeah, so Boyd House, if you want to take a look at it, the website is boydhouse217.com. We're actually doing a paranormal convention. It's our second annual. That'll be September 26th this year. And then we have a Friday night kickoff event with a comedian, a psychic, and a band. So that'll be kind of fun. So if you can check that out again at the website, or if you want to check out the lodge, it's haunted 1860, or I'm sorry, haunted Masonic 8. No, what the heck is my website? It's 1861masonic.com. So you can check that out there.
Awesome. Well, that sounds really fun. So I will definitely be looking into both of these places because I've always been interested in the Masonic Lodge as it was, but now the Boyd House that I've done my own research and now got to speak to you about it, it's just piqued my interest even more. So
Oh,
I
yeah.
greatly appreciate it again.
Yeah, thanks for having me. We'd love to have you out.
Yeah, of course. And thank you again. But I hope you enjoy the rest of your night.
Yeah, you too. You have a good one.
You too, and I will be in contact again.
All right, thanks. You have a good one.
Yeah. You too.
Bye.
Bye.
As I wrap up my time with you today, I hope the ideas I've shared here on Beyond Logic with Tiffany have provided a fresh perspective, challenging you to think a little differently about the world. Before you go, I have a request. I'd love for you to share this episode with one friend, colleague, or family member who you think needs to hear this specific conversation. Spreading the word is the best way to help the Beyond Logic community grow. To stay connected with everything I do and get continuous content throughout the week, make sure you follow me on all my platforms. Facebook is where my community gathers. Join the conversation, share your thoughts on the episode, and get exclusive behind-the-scenes content and Q&As. If you're on YouTube, head over to my channel to watch the full video version of this podcast and check out extended interviews and deep dives. For short, impactful, and shareable clips, follow me on TikTok. You can find all three platforms easily by searching for Beyond Logic with Tiffany. Until next time, keep questioning the narrative, keep exploring the possibilities, and stay beyond logic.